We absolutely love Lexidesk here. And frankly, I don't think there's ever been a technology that went from I didn't know what it was to absolute usage as we've had with Lexidesk. I'm Brian King here at King Law. We represent clients all over North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. I've been the managing partner since we started in 2002. I have a lot of attorney friends all across the world, but here in the US. And right off the bat, I ended up talking to an attorney out of Arizona across the state. And she said, Brian, you got to see what I'm using out here. She showed me, just blew me away because when I thought about AI and answering service, I was kind of thinking of the old menu, press one, do these kind of things. And it was completely different. I said, look, we've got to do something with it. So I got to hear a presentation about it in November of 2025. And I came back to my office and I said, we're going to have Lexidesk and we're making it live January 1. So I threw a big gauntlet down to the team here. And instead of killing me, they got to work. And the Lexidesk team was fantastic. Lexidesk knew that kind of timeline. They knew what we wanted to do. And they did it. In 6 weeks, we went from not using anything to answering every phone call. And that's close to 2,000 calls a week right now. For us, Lexidesk has been a game changer. What we had before was a group of team that answered the phone, which is great. From 8 to 5, we had coverage. They got about 93% of phone calls. I thought that was fantastic. They got no phone calls over the weekend, and at night, we've tried overnight services and things like that. We never really liked any of them. The first week of Lexidesk, they answered 100% of calls. 100%. The difference between 100% and 93 doesn't sound necessarily big if you're not in this world, but a 7% increase in calls. For us, when one call could easily mean $10,000 case, and the volume of calls that is, that's like missing 300 calls, which could be 300 times 10,000. Now, obviously, not every person that calls us is going to be a client, but with that kind of numbers, we're never going back. I would say to them that I understand their concerns. When we first decided, hey, we're going to put Lexidesk, which our agent, we call her Caroline, as answering every phone call, I tell you, everybody thought we were crazy. And still to this day, if I was talking to somebody and say, like, get ready, there may be some thoughts that that's a crazy idea, because that is all of our business. Everything that we do depends on that phone call. What I would say to anybody that is considering it is give us a call. What you're going to see is like nothing that you have in your mind already about it. Caroline, as we call our agent, first of all, I was very concerned. You can hear from my voice. We're Southern here. We speak slow. And that's exactly what Lexidesk was able to provide for us, was service that sounded like somebody that was right here. Sounded upbeat. I tell you, it was crazy. The very first day that we went live, we had a guy hit on Lexidesk. Like it was ask her out for a date, because that's how real she sounds. Fortunately, her answer is, I'm an AI agent. I don't have a social life. And it led to a little chuckles and some embarrassment probably. But that shows you from day one how effective it was. That people, even though she does announce as an AI agent, it is a very real conversation that you're going to have. And what we found is it's a higher quality conversation than even our team is able to have, because, there's no waiting for the next phone call, or I need to get off, or whatever that's going to be. Lexidesk can go through the entire process. And I would say to anybody, give Lexidesk a chance. I think that you will find that not only will it equate to what you've got, but it's probably going to be better in a lot of ways. The first reaction is, oh my gosh, I cannot allow a technology company to be completely in charge of everything that we do, because that call is so important. I've said it for years. It's the most important phone call that anybody's going to make. That calling your lawyer means I can't handle this myself anymore. And we have great people. I mean, we weren't replacing bad people or a problem. This was really good people that do a really good job. The problem is they were limited. They just couldn't answer every phone call. You can only be on one phone call at a time. You can only spend so much. And honestly, at 4 o'clock after a long day, you don't have the same level of empathy that you did in the morning. When I started realizing that even though we had a really good system, that this was going to completely change and enhance that. And this might be a good time for me to add, we didn't let anybody go. Having Lexidesk did not, in our case, reduce our payroll, because I didn't know. I was like, well, is this going to change? Well, Lexidesk can handle so much that what it does is it gets a lot of leads and moves them towards mailing to make an appointment. But they may not be completely sold. So that's where our live people come in. And maybe after a consult, they need to have phone calls. Well, our live people couldn't do that because they were spending all the time answering the front end. So what we ended up doing was really freeing up time for great people to, instead of redirecting phone calls or sales calls and taking their time off doing other things, suddenly they were ready, able to do the highest level. Lexidesk took the weight of that job off of them and freed them up to do what they do best. And I think that that's one of the things that I was a little concerned about at first. Frankly, they were very skeptical. Is AI coming to take my jobs? The answer so far at King Law is no. It's coming here to make your job better. I was hooked once I started making the calls. And I started, taking myself as a sample shopper. And I realized, I love being able to talk to this person who is empathetic, who is repeating back to me things I said 3 minutes ago. That's very hard for a human to hold on to, that Lexidesk immediately is, naming children and talking about my house that I didn't even mention for 3 minutes. That's very hard for a human to hold in a new conversation. It's a higher level conversation than I ever had. I was making that myself. Our people here are pretty high technically advanced, but they've never dealt with this before. What's so good is Lexidesk was there at every step of the way, saying okay, let's work on this. Let's change the guardrails. Let's make sure that, I believe in the first week that Lexidesk, I think, started to make an appointment on a Saturday. Well, we don't have appointments on Saturday. For whatever reason, we just didn't have that and put that in. Well, we're listening to the phone calls, realize what's going on, and within seconds, we had a person at Lexidesk talking to us saying, okay, let's work on that. Let's see if we can't get that fixed. And what's so awesome is it's fixed. And when you're talking about Lexidesk, it's fixed forever. And I can't describe to you how hard that is when you're talking about intake, because intake, even if they're a great team, you're going to have some turnover. You're going to have to re-explain. People are going to forget. Lexidesk never forgets. So once you fix something, and we really haven't had to do much fixing of issues, every time that we've made that, it's a permanent fix. And what's been just fantastic with working with Lexidesk is that they're truly creating a new product every week. They're getting better and better. They have software engineers, they have a full team, they have people that are dedicated to talk to us. And honestly, although I'm sure this can't be forever, we can talk right to the owners and they will make sure that we're taken care of. You don't get that out of a tech company, and you don't get that certainly out of a call center that you may have used in the past or whatever that may be. From that standpoint, not only has it been a game changer, it's been a weight lifted from us at the office. We barely mentioned the idea of, hey, wouldn't it be nice if Lexidesk was able to take, and we have 64 attorneys at our office right now, take 64 calendars and figure out what kind of case this is and set it up on a calendar and actually take a payment from a client and set that calendar event up. I mean, we were just saying this in a much general standpoint. Within a week, we had that happening. I don't think I've ever worked with any company where you can completely change the software. And this did not come with a tripling of the price or anything like that. That was just simply like, hey, I think we could do that. And let's see what we can do to put that together. And what I really is remarkable about Lexidesk is that took working with a new software program. And they did not try to sell us something new or try to say like, oh, we're going to put this into a new package for you. It's like, I think that we can use a third-party package to make that work. And you did, and it implemented it within that same week time frame, and it became part of our procedure. That's an amazing thing for me as a firm owner to see that happening. I think that the phrase that you hear sometimes is service after the sale. But changing your entire product and what it can do for us after the sale has been made, that's not the kind of service that you're used to. That's something special, and that's what I think that Lexidesk brings. Absolutely not. At this point, what we have done is to not only capture something that feels a little bit of what the future is, because it very clearly to me says this is where we're going to be going, but it's something that's very present currently, that it organically works with the rest of what we have. It's something that tells me that no matter what changes we make in the future, Lexidesk is going to be there, they're going to adapt, and they're going to make it better. Not only do I not envision ever leaving Lexidesk, there's not been a week that has gone by that I didn't start dreaming up something more that it could do. I would love to see in the future where we continue the partnership to where we're doing more of our outbound calls through Lexidesk, that we're doing some low-level consultations. I mean, there's a lot of cases where a person doesn't need to have an attorney on the other line talking to them. They do need an attorney. They need a law office, but they just need to be able to relate information that's going to get that taken care of. I see Lexidesk as an expanding role, that we're going to see it move stronger and stronger in the area. I think that we will see those changes, and there's no way I don't want to be along for the ride. This company has done something that is remarkable. It's something when I go to conferences or I go to a mastermind and I meet with other attorneys, at first I'm like, you guys have got to see this. Now when I go, they're like, Brian, tell us about that phone system you've got. Tell me how I can get hooked up. And I don't get commission on this. It's not a situation where I'm doing it because there's some kind of motive from that. It's that the practice of law needs to get better. The ABA says that 92% of the people that have a legal problem do not get a lawyer. This is the cutting edge front of what can be a situation where people who need a lawyer can get a lawyer. And lawyers can be able to provide a better, more comprehensive service, and they can do it for more people. And that can mean cheaper rates. And that's good for everybody. That's good for the attorney. That's good for the client. It's good for the court system. It's good for society. Correct. Lexidesk will make your clients have better service. Some clients, for instance, they can't call during work hours. Lexidesk is the same upbeat, I'm going to be here for you, empathetic voice at 2 a.m. that she is at 9 a.m. in the morning. That alone increases the service level. Lexidesk will talk to a client for 20 minutes if that's what the client needs. That was very difficult to ask for our live team to be able to do. And some people do. Some people will need that extra service. And Lexidesk does it without getting tired, impatient, hanging up the phone. If somebody wanted to curse out Lexidesk, she's completely fine. She's tough. She can take it. I know that sounds a little crazy, but that's a little bit better service. But more importantly, while Lexidesk is taking care of that call, our team can be dealing with a higher level of issue. So that synergy really allows for the firm to be able to do more services for our current clients and potentially higher, better sell rate for our firm, which is a business just like any other business. We want to be effective. When I see a tool that deals with what attorneys are just known for being bad at, talking on the phone, answering clients' questions, staying patient in an impatient world. Lexidesk provides that. And I think we'll continue to provide more and more services as we go through. Lexidesk team, they're so communicative that any time that there's an issue, we put them right into the meeting. And frankly, they're very proactive. We get good reporting. Lexidesk is not a software program that you pull out of a box and it's suddenly perfectly ready for your law firm. You don't want it to be that. It's customized, and you want to work on making that customization better and better. How do you do that? You train Lexidesk to get better. And while that may sound like a scary proposition, it's not, because Lexidesk is right there. And they're live people. And ironically, for a group of AI, they are very personable and are ready to answer the call, solve your problem. More importantly, they understand you. The first 10 things that we got from Lexidesk was not trying to plug or sell us things. It was all questions about who we were. What does King Law do? What's King Law client like? Tell me what King Law communities look like. How do they sound? Does this voice sound right? Is this the right level of empathy? We do a consultation fee, for instance, and we wanted to make sure, I read online about AI agents going crazy with fees and cutting deals or making things more expensive. Lexidesk has never made those kind of issues. I've never had an AI hallucination complaint out of Lexidesk. This is high quality stuff, and it's backed by high quality people. Lexidesk is not a vendor. Lexidesk is a partner of King Law. And what I mean by that is that Lexidesk is very interested in making sure that King Law is successful. And I think that is probably a great business plan for Lexidesk. But as a person on the other side, it makes you feel like, hey, we're in this together. And that's absolutely the way I felt from day one. We went live, and we went live early. And when I said we go live, we closed the back doors. So look, we're not taking this offline. We're going to do this. We're going to figure this out and make sure that it works. Every phone call, 2,000 phone calls a week being answered by Lexidesk. We don't have time to listen to every one of those. We need to trust that to make it work. Lexidesk was not somewhere out there. They were right in the middle of it, listening to phone calls. What do you think about this? Is that what you want? Our sales team, our sales director, our general manager, our partners, we were all heavily invested in this, and it felt like that every phone call was a new present being unwrapped in front of us and Lexidesk. We're like, okay, how did it work? And I remember the first clients that we had, we were celebrating, like, it's working, that feeling of, hey, it is. And you know who was there? Lexidesk was, because they were celebrating in the same way. That you really feel like that we're on the same side trying to make this work for everybody. That's what a partnership is.